Divine Feminine. There's something really powerful about realizing that the thing which once broke you no longer has a hold on your heart. That person, that place, that memory. It used to leave you in tears or silence. But now, there's space, not emptiness, peace. And maybe you didn't even notice it right away because your healing didn't happen in one big moment. It happened slowly, like the rings of a tree growing around an old scar. You felt it, and that's how you healed it. And now, what once triggered you feels like nothing more than a soft breeze passing through a place you've already outgrown. Hello, soul family. Welcome to Spiritual Manifestation. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, I'm glad to have you home. I just want to take a moment to say how grateful I am that you're here, because the energy that's already coming through feels powerful. And I can tell this message is meant for someone who truly needs it today. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. If you feel called to go deeper, the extended readings and extra guidance are always available on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we get into the longer, more personal layers of these messages, and it's a beautiful space to connect on a deeper level. And while you're here, don't forget to support the channel by liking this video, leaving a comment below, and sharing this reading with someone who may need to hear it. Your energy in this community makes such a difference, and I love reading your thoughts and reflections. Now let's go ahead and shuffle the deck together. Spirit, we ask you to guide us in this moment, to bring through the clearest and most aligned messages for those listening. As I set the energy for this reading, I can already feel the cards beginning to stir, and I know something important is ready to come through. I just pulled a card for us, and it's the Hermit. And the moment this card came out, I felt such a deep stillness enter the space. It's like Spirit is asking us to take a breath, to slow down, and to really sit with everything that's been moving inside of us lately. Because truthfully, so much has shifted for you. Even if it's been happening behind the scenes, even if you haven't had words for it. Your soul has been on this silent journey, this sacred inner walk, where no one else could really follow. And I feel like for a while now, you've been walking through this space, where things looked quiet on the outside, but inside you've been changing in ways that only you and your guides can fully understand. What I'm seeing here is that the exhaustion you've been feeling, that deep tiredness that's not just physical, but feels like it's coming from your bones. It's not because you're doing something wrong. In fact, it's the opposite. You've upgraded energetically. You've shifted into a whole new frequency, and now your body is catching up. Your emotions are catching up. Your thoughts are trying to understand this new version of you that's emerging from the inside out. It's like your system is recalibrating, and that takes energy, even if you're not consciously aware of it. So if you've been wondering why the things that used to motivate you don't anymore, if you've been questioning why your old routines feel heavier, or why pushing yourself doesn't work the way it used to, this is why you're no longer meant to do things the way you used to. You're not meant to function in those old cycles. The Hermit is showing up here to remind you that what feels like a pause is actually sacred preparation. You're being shown new ways of moving, new ways of being, but first, you're being asked to rest in this in-between space. And I get it. That in-between space can feel like you're walking through fog. You're not where you used to be, but you don't fully know where you're going yet either. That can feel really unsettling, especially if you're someone who's used to having a plan or feeling clear about what's next. But I want you to know that this isn't a mistake. You're not lost. You're actually more aligned than you realize. It's just that alignment doesn't always feel like clarity at first. Sometimes alignment feels like standing still long enough for the next door to appear. What's really coming through here is this message about portals of connection. I wrote this down while journaling recently, and now it's coming back again so strongly. I feel like you're becoming a sort of anchor, a magnetic center in your relationships, in your community, and even in your soul's journey. There's this gravitational energy forming around you, and it's pulling in the right people, the right experiences, the right insights. You may not be fully aware of it yet, but energetically, you're creating a space where others can find safety, reflection, and clarity just by being near you. You're becoming the portal through which divine connection flows. And I want to say this clearly because I know sometimes you forget. The impact you're having is massive. Even if no one says it out loud, even if you feel invisible sometimes. Just by being who you are, just by walking this quiet path with integrity and sensitivity, you're making waves in places you can't see. People are feeling your energy. You're planting seeds of hope in conversations, in moments, in passing glances. And Spirit is so proud of you for that. Now, as we sit in the energy of the hermit, I want you to really honor your inner world. If you feel like journaling, do it. If you feel like doing nothing but laying under the sky and breathing, let that be enough. You don't have to explain your process to anyone. You don't need to prove that you're healing or growing. Your evolution is sacred, and it's yours alone. You've walked through pain and kept going. You've circled around old lessons and faced them again. Not because you were stuck, but because you were expanding around them, like rings on a tree. And this is what I need you to remember. You are not the same version of yourself that you were even a few months ago. Your energy is deeper, more refined, more anchored. And that's why the old ways no longer work. That's why the people or routines or patterns you used to tolerate feel so heavy now. You're not broken, you're becoming new. And that becoming requires space. It requires rest. It requires silence. Just like the hermit who lights his way with the lantern of his own soul, you're learning to trust your own light, even when the path ahead isn't fully visible. So if you felt disconnected, confused, or unsure of what's next, know that it's okay. This space is not empty. It's fertile. Something is growing here, inside of you. A deeper truth, a clearer voice, a stronger connection to your own inner knowing. And when the time comes, when the fog lifts, when the path is ready, you'll know you won't have to force anything. You'll just take the next step, and the next, and the next. But for now, just breathe, rest, receive. Let yourself be held in this space of quiet becoming. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where your soul needs to be, and Spirit is walking right beside you. Let's keep going. I'm ready to pull the next card when you are, Divine Feminine. I just pulled a card for you, and it's the sun. The moment it landed, I felt this warmth rush in, like a light finally turning on in a room that's been dim for far too long. This isn't just about happiness or joy in the surface sense. It's about a kind of radiant energy that pours out of you without you even realizing it. There's something incredibly magnetic about you right now. You've become a light source, but not the blinding kind. It's more like a steady flame that quietly draws people in, creating connection, warmth, and gravity wherever you go. And here's what's so fascinating. It's not just you that people are being pulled toward. It's everything you're connected to. Your energy is acting like an amplifier when you show up somewhere, whether that's in a relationship, a group, a company, a mission. Your frequency actually expands the reach of that thing. It creates a ripple. So maybe you're just showing up to support something or someone, but what you're actually doing is much bigger. You're signing your energy onto it in a way that makes other people take notice. Even if they don't know you personally, they feel something. They feel the light. Let's say you start dating someone. Suddenly, people want to know more about them. Their friends are calling more. Opportunities show up. They become magnetic, not because they changed, but because your energy joined with theirs. Or maybe you quietly joined an organization, and all of a sudden they're seeing more support, more attention, more momentum. It's not a coincidence you've brought the light. You've added a kind of invisible pull, a spiritual boost that makes whatever you touch start glowing just a little brighter. This is what I'm calling a portal of connection. Because what you're doing isn't just existing, you're opening spaces. You're creating little ecosystems of light where other people want to be. It's energetic, yes, but it's also soul level. You've lived many lifetimes, and that wisdom is layered within your frequency. Even if you come across as someone who lives in the moment, who laughs easily, who dances with life, people sense your depth. They can feel the weight of your soul even if they don't have the words for it. You may appear light-hearted on the outside, but beneath that, you're ancient, you're powerful. You've walked through fires in this life and in lives before. Because of this, your energy has this unique balance. You carry wisdom, but you wear it with ease. You've been through heaviness, but you don't carry it like a burden anymore. You walk with light. You move with grace. And that, more than anything, is what draws people to you, even people you've never met. They feel safer when you're around, more open, more willing to trust, and most of the time, they won't even know why. What's wild is you might not even realize you're doing this. You're just being you. But Spirit is saying your presence is more than enough. The way you show up, the way you choose to connect, it shifts things. It makes people see possibility again. It breathes life into whatever it touches. And this is why people may start associating you with success or momentum or even luck. But really, it's deeper than that. It's soul alchemy. It's energetic co-creation. Some of you are being guided to use this gift consciously, to start something that allows people to gather, to connect, to feel held. Maybe that's an online space. Maybe it's a community or a movement. Maybe it's just you being more intentional with the way you share your energy with the people around you. But whatever it is, know that your pull is real, it's powerful, and it's purposeful. There's something so effortless about how you draw people in, but don't confuse effortless with accidental. This is a gift that's been shaped across lifetimes. This is soul memory at work, the kind that doesn't need a microphone to be felt, the kind that speaks through your presence alone. People don't always understand why they feel safe near you, but it's because your energy carries codes of healing, trust, and expansion. You aren't just helping others glow, you're reminding them they were made of light all along. You may notice lately that people open up to you quickly. They share stories, dreams, or feelings they haven't told anyone else. And that's because your energy creates a space of non-judgment, a space where they feel fully seen. This, too, is part of your gift. You're not trying to fix anyone. You're not trying to lead or control. You're simply holding space. And in that space, people remember their own light. Spirit is encouraging you not to underestimate the power of that, the power of just being. And if there's ever a moment where you feel like your role is too quiet, too behind the scenes, too undefined, remember this. Just by being present, you're changing things. Just by standing in your light, you're shifting the atmosphere. You don't need a spotlight to be seen by the right people. You don't need a loud voice to have deep impact. The right ones will feel you, even from across the room, even through a screen, even in silence. Your light speaks. And one more thing Spirit wants to say. Don't let anyone mistake your softness for weakness. Don't let them confuse your joy for shallowness. Because behind that smile is a soul that has walked through lifetimes of pain and come out glowing. You are not here to prove your depth. You are here to embody it, and you do beautifully. This card, the sun, is reminding you that you don't need to dim yourself to be safe. You don't need to hold back your radiance to fit in. Shine, let yourself be seen. Let yourself be felt. And trust that those who are meant for your light will find you. They already are. Ready for the next card? Let's see what comes up next. Divine Feminine. I just pulled the High Priestess. The moment I saw it, something deep within me stirred. Not loud or flashy, but quiet and powerful, like a sacred knowing that doesn't need to prove itself. That's the kind of energy you carry. You don't shout your truth, but it's always there, humming beneath the surface like a steady drumbeat only the wise can hear. You've peeled back so many layers that most people don't even know exist. You've unplugged from what the world says you should be and found something so much more real, something that lives in your own rhythm. What's wild is, even though you're so spiritually attuned, so deep, so wise, you don't always look like what people expect. You might laugh a lot, move playfully, speak lightly, and yet when someone sits with your energy for even a moment, they feel how much is beneath the surface. It confuses people sometimes. They don't know how to explain it, so they just say things like, "You're a mystery," or "You have so many layers." And they're right. You do. You've lived lifetimes in this one life, and it shows in the way you see the world. There's something about you that people just can't figure out. They try to understand you in linear ways, but your spirit doesn't move in straight lines. You move in spirals, in waves, in seasons. And I think for a long time, even you had trouble putting yourself into words. You've always felt different. You've always known there was something unique about how you experience life. And now, you're finally starting to trust that it's not a flaw, it's your design. This energy you carry, this quiet power, it's having a ripple effect. And some of you may already be seeing this play out. Maybe someone you've supported is suddenly gaining momentum. Maybe a group you're part of is getting attention. And it's not random, it's your signature. You've aligned yourself with something, and now the universe is moving through it. That's how strong your frequency is. You don't even have to push. You just show up with presence, and the energy starts flowing. You're not broken, you're evolving. You've become more sensitive to the flow of energy, and now your system resists anything that feels out of alignment, and that's not weakness. That's wisdom. It means you're being invited into something new, a way of living and creating that feels light, easeful, and true. Spirit calls this your flow state. It's when you're no longer forcing things, but instead allowing yourself to be carried by the current that's meant for you. Think of those moments when you're completely drained, like you couldn't possibly do anything else. But then someone you love reaches out, or something meaningful calls to your heart, and suddenly you're alive again, you're lit up, you're laughing, you're energized. That's flow. That's your soul saying, yes, this is what we're meant to be doing right now. That's the difference between exhaustion and alignment. So if you've been judging yourself for needing more rest lately, stop. You're not lazy. You're not behind. You're just shedding the last pieces of what no longer fits you. You're being rewired to operate in a new way, one that doesn't require burnout as proof of effort, one that honors your sensitivity as strength, one that allows your gifts to move through you effortlessly. Right now, Spirit is asking you to trust what feels effortless. If something gives you energy, follow it. If something drains you, pause. Don't try to force yourself back into the old grind just because it's what you're used to. You've outgrown that rhythm. You're being attuned to a new one. And yes, it may look different from the world around you, but that's because you're here to do things differently. You're here to show others that there's a new way to live, a new way to love, a new way to work and create and move through this life. Not by pushing or proving, but by allowing, by flowing, by trusting your energy to guide the way, even when it doesn't make logical sense, even when it seems too easy. Because the truth is, the things meant for you won't drain you. They'll wake you up. And if people can't understand that, let them go. If they question why you're slowing down or changing paths or choosing rest, let them wonder you're not here to explain your evolution. You're here to live it fully, freely, authentically. Your journey doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It just has to feel right to your soul. So today, let the High Priestess remind you, your wisdom doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it rests. Sometimes it laughs and plays and disappears from the noise of the world, only to return glowing with the truth no one else has found. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be felt. Let's keep going. I'm so curious what the next card will be. Before we pull the next card, I just want to pause for a moment and check in with you. How has this been resonating with you so far? If something in these first 3 cards has already spoken to your heart, let me know in the comments. I love reading how these messages meet you right where you are. All right, let's go ahead and see what Spirit has for us as we pull the next card. I just pulled a card for you, Divine Feminine, and it's the Temperance. This card came out slowly, gently, like it didn't want to rush anything. And that's exactly what this moment feels like for you. A gentle pause in between two very different versions of life. There's something sacred about the in-between, even though it doesn't always feel that way. You're not who you used to be, and yet you're not fully who you're becoming. You're right there in the middle, a space where things are shifting quietly and invisibly, even if everything looks still on the outside. The message that's coming through so clearly is this: you've become too aligned to push against what isn't meant for you. It's not because you're lazy or tired, it's because your soul has upgraded. Your body has caught up with that truth, and now it refuses to move in ways that don't match your energy anymore. You're not supposed to force things the way you used to. You're not supposed to go upstream anymore, because you're being carried now. Spirit is showing me the image of someone trying to row a boat against a strong current. Sure, you might move forward a little, but it's exhausting. It drains your strength, and in the end, you barely get anywhere. Now imagine dropping the oars and turning the boat around. Suddenly, the water starts carrying you. There's movement, momentum, even joy. And it all happens with so much less effort. That's where you are now. You're learning how to trust the current that's been waiting to carry you this whole time. This in-between place you're in, it's sacred. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also holy ground. It's where your old ways are falling away, and the new ones are being gently downloaded into your body. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Spirit is literally adjusting your system to match the energy of a future that's bigger, softer, and more supportive than anything you've experienced before. And part of that adjustment means rest, slowness, listening more than doing. When tasks feel heavy or impossible right now, Spirit is asking you to get curious instead of frustrated. Ask yourself, is there a way this could feel easier? Is there a way I could let this be simpler? Because chances are there is. But it might look nothing like what you're used to. And that's okay. You're not here to live like everyone else. You're here to live in rhythm with your own soul, and that rhythm doesn't always follow a clock or a checklist. There's something else coming through that I feel is important. Even when you know you're being carried, there can still be fear. Fear of letting go. Fear of trusting the unknown. Because let's be real, the old system, even if it was exhausting, was familiar. And familiar can feel safe, even when it's not. But now, you're being invited into something so much deeper than safety. You're being invited into peace, into freedom, into a way of living that doesn't fight your nature but honors it. And yes, your mind might still be catching up. That's part of the process. Your soul already knows this new way. Your body is adjusting beautifully, but your mind, it's used to patterns and certainty and labels. It wants to understand what's happening, and when it can't, it calls it confusion or delay. But it's not a delay. It's a realignment. It's your inner world, learning how to trust a pace that doesn't rush, a flow that doesn't force a life, that doesn't demand your exhaustion as proof of your worth. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to do anything to speed this up. You're not falling behind. There's no race here. Your energy is leading the way now, not your effort. All you're being asked to do is listen. When your body says rest, rest. When your heart lights up with a spark of joy, follow it. When your mind gets scared, hold it gently, and remind it, we're safe now. We're allowed to do this differently. And if there's discomfort in the in-between, let it be there. Don't run from it. Don't try to label it or fix it. Just let it speak. Let it show you where you're still holding on to things that no longer serve you. Let it show you how far you've come. Let it remind you that you're human. And growth, real growth, always has a middle part that feels like standing between two doors. One is closed. The other hasn't opened yet. But Spirit promises you that new door is opening soon. And when it does, you won't have to push it open. It'll swing wide all on its own. Because you were never meant to force your way through life. You were meant to feel your way forward, gently, truthfully, and in rhythm with the deeper flow of who you really are. So if all you can do today is breathe, that's enough. If all you can do is rest, that's holy. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Let's see what's waiting in the next card. Divine Feminine, I just pulled the Six of Swords, and immediately I felt this wave of quiet transition wash over the energy. This card doesn't shout, it doesn't rush. It speaks in whispers, soft and certain. And it comes through with a powerful truth. You're already moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. You've left behind something heavy. And even though the water beneath you might still feel uncertain, your soul is already heading toward a new and peaceful shore. Right now, it may feel like you're in this strange in-between. Not quite where you were, not quite where you're going. And it's confusing because your heart knows something has shifted, something deep. But your mind is still looking for proof. It's like your soul has already arrived at the next level, but your body and your emotions are still catching up. You're learning how to live in a way that doesn't demand pain as the price of growth. And that takes time. But make no mistake, the shift is real. You're not stuck. You're pausing mid-transformation. And here's the most beautiful part. In this new space you're entering, life gets to feel easier. Yes, truly easier. The kind of ease that doesn't come from laziness, but from alignment. You've worked so hard for so long. You've pushed and forced and tried. But now, the message is clear. You don't need to do that anymore. The new system that's rising within you, the one your soul already belongs to, isn't powered by pressure. It's powered by peace. You are stepping into a timeline where success, love, abundance, happiness, all of it flows with more grace. You're not just going to get the things you've always dreamed of. You're going to receive them in a way that finally feels natural to your spirit. That's what makes this new chapter so different. Not just what's arriving, but how it's arriving. You're being given permission to experience wealth without burnout, love without confusion, joy without guilt. And it's all because you let go of the old ways that told you you had to struggle for every good thing. And here's something really tender that's coming through right now. Spirit is showing me a moment where you went back to an old place, an old connection, an old version of you. But this time, it felt different. Maybe it was a physical place you used to associate with pain, or a person who once triggered something deep inside you, or maybe it was just a memory that resurfaced out of nowhere. But when it came up, you didn't feel the same charge you once did. That deep ache wasn't there. And in that quiet, you found something holy, evidence of healing. That moment wasn't random. That was your soul showing you just how far you've come. You've softened in the places you used to armor. You've breathed light into the spaces you once shut down, and even if no one else sees it, Spirit sees it. You are not the same person who was hurt. You're the person who held that pain and chose to heal anyway. That's power. That's transformation. And that's the quiet kind of victory that changes your life from the inside out. So if you're still feeling like nothing's happening, trust this. You are not behind. You are not failing. You're in motion, even in stillness. And every cell of your being is adjusting to the beauty that's waiting for you on the other side of this moment. There's nothing to rush, nothing to fix. Just trust the pause. Let the waters carry you. Let your soul catch your breath before everything begins to rise again. And one more thing, because this is the final card of this reading, I want to leave you with this truth. Once something loses its emotional charge, it no longer has power over you. That's the sign. That's the freedom. That's the quiet knowing that you've done the inner work. So celebrate that. Honor that. You are crossing into new waters, and the shore ahead, it's already been waiting for you with open arms. I just pulled the Three of Swords, and I want you to know this is the final card in this reading. And somehow it feels exactly right, because this card doesn't just represent pain or heartbreak. It carries the quiet truth of what healing really looks like. It reminds us of the tender places we've touched, the wounds we've held, and the strength it takes to finally say, that doesn't hurt me anymore. And that's what this message is bringing through. Your healing is no longer a hope or a prayer. It's already happened. You are living in the proof. There was something that once shook you to your core. A person, a memory, a place. Something that used to bring up a flood of emotions every time it came to mind. You may not even have words for how deep that pain once ran. Maybe you used to cry at the mention of it. Maybe your body would tense up. Your chest would tighten. You'd avoid the subject, or you'd spiral if it ever came too close. But here you are now, revisiting it. And something's different. There's stillness where there used to be chaos. This is the moment when you realize that the emotional charge is gone. The thing that used to grip you, it doesn't have the same power anymore. And not because you pushed it away, not because you ran from it, but because you stayed. You stayed long enough with yourself. You let yourself feel it over and over again. You cried the tears. You asked the questions. You gave yourself the space to break and rebuild. And now, when it comes back around, you're not the same. Spirit is showing me the inside of a tree trunk, those circular growth rings you see when a tree has been cut down. There's a scar on one of the rings, like a break or a wound, but instead of stopping, the tree kept growing around it. Every time it circled back, it didn't shrink. It expanded. That's what you've done. You may have felt like you were going in circles, but you were building strength around a place that once felt shattered. Every return was part of your becoming. And I feel this message is so specific for someone, maybe just one of you listening. You went back. Maybe not physically. Maybe it was just a memory that resurfaced, or you told the story again to someone new. Maybe you saw their name, or drove past that street, or stood in the same place where everything once changed. And for the first time, it didn't break you. You were calm. You were clear. You were whole. That's what this card is saying. You've healed. This moment isn't small, it's sacred, because it's not just about the pain you overcame, it's about what it reveals, that your process, however unique or misunderstood, was real. Some of you didn't heal in traditional ways. Maybe it wasn't through therapy. Maybe it wasn't through books or routines or advice. Maybe it was long walks alone, or whispering to your past self in the dark, or dancing your anger out, or laughing through the tears. And maybe you were judged for that. Maybe you judged yourself. But it worked. Your healing worked. I know it's been confusing at times. There were nights you didn't know if you were making progress at all. Days where you felt stuck. Weeks where the same old emotions circled back again and again. But Spirit is saying, you weren't stuck. You were spiraling upward. You were learning how to hold your heart with gentleness, how to stay open, even when it was easier to close. You were walking back into the fire with a softer voice and steadier breath, and eventually, it didn't burn anymore. This final card, the Three of Swords, doesn't arrive with sadness. It arrives with honor. It comes to place a hand over your heart and say, look at what you've survived. Look at how deeply you've grown. This is the part where your story shifts, where pain no longer gets the final word, where you walk away, not because you've forgotten, but because you've outgrown the version of you who once needed to stay there. That is the kind of healing that changes everything. So, let this be the closing message of today's reading. You are no longer carrying what once carried you. You've laid something down, and you didn't even realize it. You've stepped out of the storm, and now it's just rain in the distance. And even if it circles back again one day, you'll meet it with softer eyes and a stronger spine. You've healed, you've grown, and most of all, you're free. Okay, this feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. What we've seen here is a reminder that your energy is powerful, your journey is guided, and Spirit is always working in ways you may not fully see yet. Trust that what is meant for you will always find its way, and you don't need to chase. Just allow yourself to stay aligned and open. If you feel called to dive deeper, the exclusive and extended version of our readings are available right now on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we really expand on these messages and explore the layers that Spirit couldn't fit into this space. Also, don't forget to check out the community posts and today's energy reading updates. I love connecting with you there and hearing how these messages meet you in your own journey. Drop your comments below, share your personal requests, and let me know how this reading spoke to you. And if you'd like to keep the energy flowing, I've linked some other videos here that I know will guide and encourage you. I'll see you in the next reading. Bye for now.